we've stepped back to look at the bigger picture of what we want to accomplish, let's put a plan together. I warned you in the first episode that we might use words like plan, organize, and other businessy words, but here's the thing. Your band and music is your business. The difference between your music being a career or a hobby is how much time and effort you put into marketing yourself and your craft. So those of you who are just jumping into the music world, that might be a bigger question for you to chew on. I think a big mistake many people make when diving into social media and their overall online presence is not taking the time to make a plan. If you were opening up a restaurant or a store, you wouldn't just wing it without thinking through how you were going to get the word out. So don't do that with your career. Be intentional and make a plan. The nice thing is that if you find out that something isn't working, go ahead and change it. This plan isn't set in stone. It's mainly an outline for you to wrap your head around where you're going and what you want to do. We already thought through who our audience is in the last episode, so now we need to determine where we need to be. If social media is new to you and you aren't incredibly comfortable with it, take on one outlet at a time. Once you get comfortable, add another one. The reason behind being on multiple social media outlets is a simple fact. The more outlets that you're on, the more likely you will be seen. Making sure you're on multiple outlets is the key to making an impact. In the next episode, we'll talk about the essentials that will need to be featured on your website, but it's really important that you have your own website, one that you have control over and have complete access to, set up and ready to go. Please don't use your Facebook or MySpace page as your main website. This is your home base on the internet, your main information hub. Look at it this way, your social media outlets are conversational, your website is informational. The first thing you will need to do to get your website up and running is to buy your domain. This can be tricky, so jumping on that right away to make sure your domain name is the same as your band name is incredibly important. Also, you'll need to figure out who your hosting service will be. We use DreamHost if you're looking for a suggestion. This week's PDF will feature instructions on how to go about purchasing your domain and hosting service. If you're comfortable creating your own website, go for it. Or if you have a friend who can do it for you, that's great too. If money is tight and you need to save up for a website, buy your domain first and redirect the page to go to your OneSheet, Facebook, or MySpace page until your website is set up. It's okay to direct people to these outlets if you're working on a site, but not as a permanent online presence. WordPress is another option if you want to do it yourself and are tight on cash, but do know that it can be difficult to set up if you aren't technically savvy. Bandzoogle and Squarespace are other great options. And if you're looking for an affordable website and don't want to do it yourself, feel free to contact us on our contact page and we would be happy to help. In setting up your priorities, your website should be number one on your list. It might take some time to get that completed, so be sure to get that rolling as soon as possible. In the meantime, you should get your social media outlets ready. In a future episode, I'll walk you through how to best use these social media outlets effectively so we can focus on that later. But as it relates to your plan, figure out what you want to focus on. I would suggest Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube for starters. On this week's PDF download, we'll have other social media outlets that you can add to your network to continue to grow your online presence. Figuring out the content that will be featured on your online outlets will help considerably. By creating a list of ideas regarding the substance or content that you want to share with others now will not only help you when figuring out what to post, but it will get the juices rolling and help you come up with other creative content. If you have a running list of topics and ideas now, it will help significantly, especially if you're short on time. Your calendar is probably the best time-saving tool that will be in your back pocket in regards to not only managing your social media outlets, but also in managing your time. By creating a calendar with blog topics scheduled for certain days, as well as Facebook and Twitter post ideas ahead of time, will help you create the consistency that you need to make the most of your social media outlets. It will also help you manage your time better and take a bit of the stress away from constantly having to come up with new content on the fly. I'm not trying to make this completely regimented, but it will give you a good framework to roll with. Take a look at your main calendar that has all of your sessions, appointments, personal engagements, and so on. Let's say that you'll be in the studio on Tuesday, so make a note on your social media calendar to take some pictures of the session and post them on your blog or Facebook page for that day. Maybe the day before mention on Facebook or Twitter that you will be in the studio and tag everyone who's involved with the session. If you have a show on Thursday, the same goes. It's mainly thinking through what you already have scheduled and planning your updates and blog entries around that. If something new pops up, great, post it. This is letting others into your world and letting them be a part of what you're doing. It's also letting others know more about you and your band, your personalities, what you are like as a group and as individuals. We've created a social media calendar for you to download to fill out to make things easier for you. So you have a general idea from your calendar what you have coming up. I'll talk about the importance of a blog and creating content for that in another episode, but it needs to be said that blogs are really important. Committing to do a blog entry at least twice a week is ideal, and it doesn't have to be a written blog. It can be a picture or video blog. And scheduling blogs on your social media calendar will ease that load considerably. Thinking through some ideas and plotting out content will take away a lot of stress. What I suggest is setting aside an hour or so to plan the next 2 months for your social media calendar. Again, this is just an outline of something that you can follow. Next week, we're going to talk about your website, the essentials that you will need, how to bump up your SEO, and so much more. So don't forget to download your PDF for this episode, and we will see you next time.